Hey y'all, we're fixing to start cutting squash. It's just now coming in. And I think by the time we get through, and by the time I get through, I'm gonna feel like Travis squashed me. We're playing in the squash field. And if anybody wants some, we're gonna have some for sale. I missed a few down here a while ago that's still on the ground. There's so much of it, we're gonna throw it over here to the side. And we're gonna pick it up when we get finished. So we don't hurt the squash by taking the buckets through there. Do you see the difference than just a few minutes ago, how the leaves are perking up? Because the sun's going down a little bit, the leaves are coming back up. We were down here just a few minutes ago, or about 30 minutes, and the leaves were droopy, and now they're coming back up mostly. Okay, y'all, here's our squash that we got this afternoon. I think we got a good bit. And it started pouring down raining too, but we finished. And before we got through, we finished. We looked like two squashes when we got finished, but we got done. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna show y'all how we do our summer squash. This morning, Travis got out here and he cleaned and sanitized this with bleach and Blue Dome and got it ready for me. And we put all the squash in there, and then we're gonna scrub them over here, and then we're gonna take them over here, cut the ends off, and dump them in here and rinse them again. And these are food grade buckets, so they're safe to use for your food. And then after we rinse them real good in here, I'm going to take them and put them in here. And I've actually already done a few. And that's where I'm going to put them in this bucket. And then we have another container, I'll show y'all that too, that has a vinegar and water in it. And it's all food grade and it's clean and safe. And we're going to put them in there and then get them ready for canning. But let me show y'all how we're doing it. I come over here and I'm going to get this brush and scrub them real good. Get all the dirt. I haven't seen many bugs, but they've got dirt on them from being out in the garden. And see how pretty and clean that is? After we scrubbed it real good. I'll rinse it off in there. And then I'm going to put it in here to rinse. And I'm going to do a few more and let y'all see. Scrub them real good. Get them clean. Then I'll rinse it in there. And then I'm going to put them right over here. And I've already got these few right here. Cut the ends off of this one. This little spot. They're all good and clean. Then I'm going to put them in here. Take them out of there and do this again. See how pretty? Rinse it off with my brush set right there. Bring them over here and rinse them. That water feels good. And then put them in here. And this container right here, Travis said that he might go skinny dipping in this tonight because it feels good. That water in there is just as cool. He said he might get naked and go skinny dipping. But we'll see. It looks like it's going to storm. Bring it over here and rinse it. I've already got the end cut off and put it in there. When we get them done, I'll show you the rest of it. Alright, I was going to show y'all what we've got our squash in now. This is our vinegar water. It's got a whole gallon of vinegar in there. Sanitizing them good. They're good and clean. I'm gonna let them soak for a little bit. And that'll make sure they're good and clean and everything's off. And then we're going to start cutting here in just a little bit. And I'll bring you back for that. Alright y'all, we've got all the squash cleaned and sanitized and washed. I've got me a bucket full of it and I've just have brought it in and we're going to start cutting it up. I'm going to lay it up here and then cut it on my cutting board and put it in these bowls as I get it cut. And believe me, we got plenty of it. Just spread it out a little bit like that and let it start drying, but I'm going to go ahead and start cutting it as that little bit dries. And then I'm just going to slice it in like quarter slices, just about that thick. I like that. I'll do one more. And once we I'll get all these cut up, then I'll show you when we get finished. Hey y'all, I wanted to show you that we're fixing to start canning our squash. We've got it washed and all cut up, ready to go. We've got our jars sanitized and ready. I've got all my canning utensils out and I'm fixing to start stuffing them. We're going to put 7 quarts in each canner and we have 4 canners and that'll give us 28 jars. And that should be enough for all year for squash. And we're fixing to get that started, and as soon as I get the jars packed, I'll show y'all that too. But I wanted to show y'all this, the squash, how we've got it done, and it's packed in our food grade buckets, waiting for me to start packing it. And that's how much we wind it up with. And I'll actually let y'all know how many pounds it takes to do the jars as soon as I get that figured up. Let me get it back to where I had it. Okay. Alright, we'll come back and show you when we get our jars packed. Okay y'all, I just wanted to bring y'all back and show y'all this. We've got our squash all put in our jars. It took 28 pounds to do 28 jars, so that actually makes you get 1 pound of squash per jar. And we got 28 quarts out of it. Right here we have our water that we had our squash in, and we're going to reuse that. And I'm going to add my salt to that to do the canning process with it and have it just in my water to add to my jars. I'm going to put all my salt in at one time instead of adding the salt to each jar. So I'm going to show y'all how I do that. And it's pretty full. There's 4 gallons right here in this 5-gallon bucket. And that is the water that we saved off of those. So here I'm going to add my salt. And that's 1 cup. 1 cup of salt for 4 gallons of water. And here's my spoon. I'm going to mix it up good. And then that way, doing it this way, mixing your salt in your water and then pouring it in the jars, you don't have to add your salt to each jar. It's already just dissolved in your water. And that's how Travis's granny always done it, so that's how I do it. And then I'm going to get my water out of here and I'll show y'all that, but then I'll have to bring you back because we got to add it to our jars. And see, that's your salt water already in your, ready to go, all mixed together at one time. And I'll show y'all 1 jar right here. I'm going to add the water to it. And go ahead, I'll show you 1, then I'll bring you back after we get it all done. And you need to just come to like right there. You got to give it like 1 inch head space. And that's about right there. So I'll just keep filling and I'll bring y'all back, let you see it once we get all of them filled and the lids ready for the lids. Hey y'all, I've got all my squash in my jars. I got the water that we made to put in the jars up to the 1 inch rim mark. They're all ready now to get their lids on them. And I've wiped all these down, and I saved this one so I could show y'all. What you use is a paper towel with water and a vinegar solution, just like half and half, and dip it down in there on your napkin or paper towel, or even you could use a washcloth as long as it's clean. And just take it and make sure the top of your rim is good and clean and wiped off. And then you want to take one of these and you can buy these like in the Canon section at Walmart or order them off of Amazon. And it'll pick your little lid up. And you try not to touch the lid. You just let that little magnet pick your lid up out of that water because it's all sanitized from boiling it. And then take that, put it on your jar, hold it like that, and then put that back in the water so it stays sanitized. And then take one of your rims, these are rims, that goes to the mason jars, and then you just put it on there and just tighten it up, hand tight, don't go too tight or too loose, just like as good as you can get it by twisting it one time. And then I'm going to bring y'all back when I get all these jars, lids and rims put on them, and we're almost finally ready to go in the canner. Let me do all these and we'll bring y'all back in just a few minutes. Okay y'all, I'm bringing y'all back for this part. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little splash of vinegar in each canner. And we've already got the heat on. We got it on medium, starting to get hot. Just a splash in each canner. And each canner has the water up to the rim of the jar. Like right there at the top of the 1 inch mark. And that little bit of vinegar water will keep your water from getting foggy inside your jars. It'll keep your water good and clear. So I've always liked to put a little splash of vinegar in my water for my canners. And what we're going to do is when I put these lids on, once it comes up to temperature and your little gauge on there called the thumper starts thumping, you let it cook for 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes, you'll cut your heat off and just let it sit there, and they'll start cooling down. And then as soon as the pressure releases, then you can open it up and look at your squash that you worked so hard on and canned. But I've got all these going. We're going to get the lids on them, get them to start processing, get that heat up to boil, let it start cooking, and you'll cook squash for 20 minutes. And once it starts thumping, that's when you time it, that 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, you cut your heat off and let it sit there until it cools. And then you're ready to open it up and all your work's done. I'll bring y'all back when we get done and we get them all set up after they cool. Okay, y'all, I wanted to bring y'all guys back for this last step. And what we done was we put them in the pressure cookers. We let them cook brought them up to heat. As soon as they come up to heat, I timed it for their 20 minutes for squash, like the Ball recommends to do, and the Ball mason jars. And then did y'all just hear one pop? We let them release natural and in the pressure cooker, so then after it releases natural, then you can actually take the lid off. And then we started taking them out. They were a little warm, and whatever you do when you're taking them out, do not let your jars touch each other because they will break. And then once we got them out, we put them in here and they're done, and they're actually popping, and that lets you know once it starts popping, you hear those poppings, that means that's a good sign. It's going to seal, and this will last you probably for as long as you need it to, years and years. And I just wanted to let y'all see what it looks like. But this is our 28 cans, 1 pound in each can. So I think we got plenty of squash for the year. Thank y'all for watching.